So immunotherapy is extremely promising, right? So there were two molecules that were discovered many years ago, decades ago. So CTLA-4 was discovered in 1985, PD-1, PD-L1 pathway was discovered in the 90s. A lot of basic science post the 80s and 90s led to the approval of these drugs, two drugs, right? So drugs against CTLA-4 and PD-1 in the clinic in the 2011, between 2000, in the last 7-8 years, right? So those are two drugs. In that period of time, there have been many, many more targets in the context of the immune system identified. And pharma and academics are going after those targets. So in terms of what's coming up, it's a large number of molecules currently tested and to be tested in the future. So it looks very exciting. But the problem or the challenge is going to be, how do we choose? And from where do we choose the drugs to be used and in which order? Right? So now we will have at some point so many interesting drugs that work in preclinical models that will need to be tested in patients in combinations with the ones that are working, that will need to find a pathway to rationalize in their combination. And I think that's the challenge currently. But the critical components here are immune regulation, right? And immune regulation means the immune system is tightly regulated to avoid autoimmunity and tissue damage. And these new drugs, it's CTLA-4 and PD-1 blockers, have been aiming at immune regulation. So that's the first component. But the second key component is immune recognition. So what do T cells recognize in cancer? That's what we talk today. Mutations are one substrate recognition. And the third pillar, I would say, is the tumor microenvironment, is the non-T cell, the non-tumor component of that mass of cancer that is growing. And we need to understand that better. The future outlook will be fantastic if we keep on adding basic science into this, right? Trial or error is definitely not the way forward because we just don't have the resources and the patience to do that. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but it's tempting when you have a large platform of pharmaceuticals. So I think the future, in my mind, looks very bright as long as we find a pathway to rationalizing, to choosing the right molecules to use and to rationalize their usage, timing, and combination.